Hey, Spiritual Girls in a Material World with Kelly Sullivan Walden and Nancy T starts now.
Hey everybody, it's Kelly Sullivan Walden and I'm with Nancy T and we're Spiritual Girls in a Material World, and we're going to talk about some revealing dreams that we've been having, and we think they're interesting not just for our narcissistic selves, but we think that you might find them interesting because there's probably value in them for you too. So we're going to start with a wiggity-wiggity-wiggity-whack dream. That's a little teaser of what you're going to get from Nancy's dream. Okay, hit it, Nancy.
Okay. So I was having this dream that I was in a big area where there's a lot of people and we were all exiting. You know, like when you leave a stadium or a concert or whatever, and you're up on a higher level and then you have to go downstairs and it's totally crowded. But I was really aware that on these stairs, there weren't a lot of people in front of me. So I had plenty of easy space to get down. And my mom was with me and she ran down first, like super fast. And so I started to run and there was a man behind me who pushed me. But he wasn't pushing me like in a violent way, but he was pushing me like hey, if you just lean back on your heels, you can slide on down. There's a faster, easier way, even faster than you're going, is what he was trying to tell me. Well, so it cuts to now I'm in the cab getting a ride with my mother and this guy. My mom is sitting in the front seat, ignoring us. And the man next to me is kind of a chubby looking guy who looks like he might be an accountant or something, but he's actually a rapper, as in, like rap. Okay. So, I was talking to him and my mom, we stopped the car, the cab driver stops, my mom gets out of the car and I said, well, I guess she's not paying for it. And she was better in her dementia at this point. So she was a lot more able to be free. She wouldn't do this in real life. But I said, okay, now I've got to look for money. And he threw a bunch of money at me. And as I'm holding this money, I'm looking through and I see fives and all this stuff. And I said, by the way, you being a rapper is wiggity, 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 whack. And I was joking, but I thought I was hilarious, which I sort of do. I sort of still do. And the cab driver just kind of looked at me like, and I can't count up my fives, but eventually I throw out the money and I get out of the car. What
okay.
Is that about?
All right. So what did you mean? Like, what was your intent? Were you like being a rapper what did you mean? That's wiggity, 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 whack. What does that mean? It means something.
I didn't really mean that I think there's anything wrong with being a rapper.
Okay.
I just wanted him to know that I knew wiggity, 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 whack. And that I was silly. And so I was kind of playing with him. I was just being playful because that's a whole thing. Remember that? You remember wiggity, 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 whack? That was like part of, I think, a Criss Cross song way back in the early 90s. It's an actual phrase. And so I was saying it. Plus, it's so corny to say that in this year. Uh-huh. So I was just trying to be funny. But I also was sort of in my way saying, you don't look like a rapper. I can't imagine you'd be very good. That's really...
Was there any connection? Like you said that he threw the money at you. Was it enough money? It
was more than enough, but I was struggling to count it. And he said, well, maybe it's harder because your mom's dementia is getting worse or something. Maybe that's why it's harder. I just remembered that now. Yeah. Yeah. So because I kept seeing the fives and like a five, I needed 15. And it was like when we go to Teotihuacan, we'll go on a trip and then it's like you owe $15 for the cab if you're sharing it with people from the highway. It was that. And knowing that was the amount that I needed, kind of like we arrived at the dreaming house and this is the amount I have to give. My mom ran off and now I'm paying and 15 was going to do it. But I had like in the money he threw me, there were some ones and there was some change and there were more than 3 fives. And I saw it and I knew I had it, but I just kept struggling to get the actual 3 fives. And I said, why is this so hard? It should be easy. I see 3 fives here. I should be able to go bing, 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 and pull them out. But he said, it's probably because your mom's dementia is getting worse.
So what did that mean about you?
Well, I do every time I forget something, every time I'm forgetful, I do think, oh gosh, this is in my family. And it's not on my dad's side per se. Their ailments are more like diabetes, heart, stuff like that. But on my mom's side, there were 4 siblings, and my mom and my Aunt Janie both have dementia, strong. And then my other 2 don't. And those 2, I think, take after their mother, and the other 2 take after my grandfather, who didn't have it at all. So I always hope that I'm on the other side of that if it's going to come down to things. But I do know that there are times where I don't remember so well. And I do have a worry about that in the back of my head as I've seen her dementia progress. Now, let me just say, she's had a great time with dementia. I mean, she has had a blast. And this woman is funny and fun and more fun than she's ever been, and having a wonderful time in her life. So I don't look at it like, oh my gosh, my mom has this and it's a horrifying tragedy. Because if I look at her, she's always smiling and laughing. So who am I to judge? But it doesn't mean that I want to end up in a home, with incontinence. I mean, that's a concern,
Okay. May I dive in and do an If It Were My Dream?
If it were your dream, what would you say?
Okay. So there's a couple things. So I always look for the ratio of masculine energy, feminine energy, and that kind of thing. So there's this masculine energy, if it were my dream, in the back seat. And you just said something about in the back of my mind with me, right? In the back seat, in the back of my mind, I've got this worry. I just think it's interesting that he is an accountant. Accountants are really good with math.
Well, he looks like
he looks like an accountant, even though he's a rapper, but he looks like it. And I just think of all things to say what he looks like. That's an interesting thing, because that makes me, if it's my dream, I think then he must be an accountant by day, a rapper by night, or something like that. But it feels like there's a little bit of disconnect with the masculine and the feminine. Like they're not adversaries. Like in some dreams, the masculine is fighting the feminine, or vice versa. They're not fighting, but they're just a little bit off. Like the masculine is pushing, like, we can do this more efficiently if you do it my way. Nobody, I don't like that. Like, back off, like, give me my space. Here's what I'm left with at the end. It feels like, if it were my dream, I'm saying to him, I might not have been good at counting this stuff out, but I'm really funny. And Wiggada-Wiggada-Wiggada-Wack is like, it's like a place of genius. So it's like, I may not be a genius here, but I'm a genius here. So bam, don't forget that. So it's like, I'm kind of like redeeming myself by saying, yeah, this isn't my area, but this is. So there. So I feel like there is some commentary, like some of the things that you said in Waking Reality. Yes, your mom does have dementia, but she wasn't doing so bad. I think our dreams are...
She was great. She was better than she is.
So I think the dreams are like they're always revealing a solution to a challenge, if it's a challenge that it's dealing with. So if we could say in this dream, the challenge is what? What would you say
Gosh, I don't know, because when I woke up, it was sort of like my old Jesus dream. I just thought I was funny, and I loved it for that reason. So I didn't feel challenged by the dream in any way, except for that moment of, when you're walking through water, it feels like you're moving through water, or you try to throw a punch, but you really can't make it connect. That was the money moment, where I was trying to sort it out. And even though I had all that I needed, I couldn't. And in my dream, there was why can't I pick out these 3 5s? Why do I keep trying to, but then almost like, when you go to another country and you're counting the money, and then you count and you go, oh gosh, I don't have enough, or I thought I had enough, or how much is this worth? It was like that, only it was with US dollars. But that whole, it's so hard. And that is one of those moments of woo for me.
Right. So in your dream, if you could do a do-over, like if you suddenly became lucid in your dream, is there any part of it that you would do slightly different, or you would change? Or redo?
Gosh. I don't know, because I didn't have the money for the cab ride. I didn't have it. And as I was like doing oh gosh, I don't have it, he just happened to throw it to me.
Why didn't he hand it to you? Why did he throw it at you?
That was the rapper thing.
It wasn't being like a yo, 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 here, drop the mic, throw the money, bam, make it rain.
Yeah, that's when I was like, but it was funny. I wasn't mad that he did it, because I was in the background thinking, ooh, I lucked out. Just like when I run out of gas, but I run out right at the pump. I'm like, yes, that feeling where this could have really been a bad situation, but woohoo. I love when things are almost a really bad situation, but it all works out awesome. Like, that is one of my favorite moments. So I don't even know if I would change that part, because I was struggling to figure. The only thing was just the counting it. Once he gave it to me, I couldn't count it. So I wish that could have got better.
Yeah. Okay. So how would you have done it? How would it have gone?
How could I make it go better? Well, I could say, hey, rapper, pull out 15 for me, and just have him do it.
Okay. I'm just curious, why wouldn't you pick that you would look at it and it would be super simple and you go boom, 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 here?
Well, I would pick that, but I didn't know that was an option. That's always an option, right?
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding. Yeah, it'd be like 5, 5, 5. Here. I'm keeping the rest. Peace out, sauerkraut.
Right. I feel like there's something in that. I mean, I think our dreams, every single dream is always pointing to the same thing and showing where, like, what a strategy is and why we keep it and like what it costs us. Like there's a cost to a certain, like, it's funny and it's cute that you're like, I don't do good money, but then there's also a price that you pay with not that. And then the payoff, it's like, I heard Don Miguel Ruiz talk about hell and how, like, in Teotihuacan, we talk about, we go to the plaza of hell, and then we eventually go to heaven, and hell is about attachments, really. But hell is also where there's drama. And he said, hell is actually, like, we like hell, us humans, because it's quite entertaining. There's a lot of juice that we get from our little dramas. Like, there's negative pleasure that we get from these things that actually hurt us. And because of that little bit of pleasure, we keep it around. All the while, there's a whole other level of freedom and self-expression and authenticity that's like waiting for us on the other side that we can't get to. But it's like there's this, it's almost like when you watch a soap opera, you're like, God, I can't believe I'm watching this. It's so horrible, but what's going to happen next? And there's like a seduction to the drama. And even in, it's like in the Celestine prophecy, because we're going to Peru soon and Machu Picchu, and they talk about in the control drama, there's like the ways that we create an energy around us that we like, but we do it comes at a cost to us, but we get it, but it costs us something. So there's this price that we have to pay. Anyway, so I feel like there's some of that swirl inside of that.
You know what's interesting, and I don't want to take this too long, but I have a little tiny story.
Yeah.
I run out of gas a lot. Do you know that about me?
No.
Okay. And I have to say, I always think that when something bad happens, if it really something awful, like intrinsically, if it hurts you, that's how you stop it from happening again. But the thing is I've run out of gas many, many times, and I should have.
Like how many times?
I can't count.
Like more than 20?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now listen, but because I've had such good experiences, I could think of so many fun things and wonderful things that have happened when I've run out of gas. It's like, how am I supposed to learn my lesson? Good things keep happening. And so so the other day I was like really getting low. And I can see, I'm like, you know what? She's starting to get like little sputtery. I know her moods. I know what she's doing. So I see the exit and I'm getting ready to get off. And like just, I don't know, 500 feet in front of the exit, she stopped. So I pull over on the highway and I see your mouth. But here's the thing. I was just like, oh, honey. Her name is Becky. I said, oh, Becky, it's okay, honey. I'm going to give you a second to breathe. Give you a second to take a little gulp like that, because there's a couple more gulps in there, and there's a gas station right around the corner, honey. So I sat there and I waited for about a minute. Not at all stressed, not at all in drama, not at all crazed, not nervous, nothing. I was like, whatever. I'm fine. I'm always fine. And I knew I was fine. And I turned it on. She started, got all the way off the exit, turned right, and then she stalled again. And it was right in front of this big driveway where all these people are coming out of a plaza. And I said, honey, I know I like to let you sit, and I'm rubbing her dashboard. And I know I like to let you just rest for a minute, but the gas station is just one more little, not even a block, just like 2 feet away. I got to get in there. We got to clear this driveway. Okay. She turned right back on. I pulled it in. I go, good girl. Got right to the thing. And the whole time, never was I upset or worried or hurt or anxious. I saw the driveway and I went, ooh, that's funny. Like that could be funny. But I don't know. It just doesn't. So some might say you're trying to bring this drama to you, and yet there was no dramatic moment in it other than it's a funny story.
Well, I think on
other
the
people
right,
freak out when I tell them, they're like,
right
what?
side of it, it's like, it's awesome to take the things that happen and find the joy and the beauty, because it's always there. And and yet I'm going to totally be a Debbie Downer for a second.
Okay. Everyone is when I tell them about this. Well, so you won't be the first.
In my first Chicken Soup for the Soul book, the Dreams and Premonitions, my story in the introduction is about a session that I had with a client who lost her son because he ran out of gas on the freeway.
Oh my God.
With his girlfriend in the car. Oh. And somebody didn't see them stop, and full speed, they were hit from behind. He died on impact. She didn't die. The girlfriend got really injured. I don't know what happened to the driver. It was a hit and run. We think it was a hit and run. I think it was a hit and run. But Brian's death was like so gnarly. And because he was like the favorite person of everybody, there were thousands of people at his funeral. He was like, so many people were on suicide watch after he died, because he was like the angel in their world. You are like an angel in so many people's worlds. If you freaking died on a freeway or anywhere because of not putting gas in the car, he knew his gas tank was low. She knew it. They had a conversation. It was like, but they didn't feel like stopping. And they were in love. They had just it was really, it was tragic, really tragic. And, how it ends up coming together, there's a way longer story. The reason I wrote about it was the night before my session with his mother, I had to have a session with the mother. And this boy, he was 23-ish. I was praying to God the night before. Like I'm a dream expert. I'm not a grief counselor, but yet she wants to see me. So God, you better give me something. I need something, because I think it's out of my league. I mean, I'll do anything to help her, but I need something, because I don't have a kid. I've never given birth to a kid, much less ever lost anyone like that. And it's fresh. It was only like a week later, maybe a week later. It was probably a week later. So the only dream I woke up with was the word mosaic. And I wrote it down in my journal, and I wrote it down so many times that it almost broke the paper. Because while I was writing it, I was trying to think, what does this mean? What is mosaic? I don't have a relationship to mosaics. I like them. but I have I don't know what mosaic means. So I have the session with her. She's weeping, like kind of laughing, telling me everything about Brian. And I'm mostly just listening and holding space and crying with her. And at the end of the session, she's telling me that the funeral had just happened the day before. And she's surrounded by flowers, all the flowers from the funeral, like they came home with her. And she talked about how amazing it is, how many people showed up at this funeral, how beloved he was. And she said, and then there's this thing that is the most beautiful gift I could have ever gotten. One of his best friends put together this mosaic of all the moments of Brian's life, little pixels of it, put it in one big picture of his face. I've been looking at this mosaic during this whole time that we've been talking. Mosaic. And I just started sobbing myself. And I'm like, I can't believe you said mosaic. That was a message from Brian, that there's some connection. And his dad ended up writing the most beautiful thing about what a mosaic is. It's like all these random pieces of people that he had brought together, and that he is a part of everyone's soul and all this. And then the little teeny capper on that, right after I got off the phone with my session with Margarita, after I kind of composed myself, my mother called me. And this is when she and my dad were thinking about moving from the home that we had lived in for 45 years. And they were looking at different apartments. They were wanting to kind of downsize, lighten their load. And she said, I think we want to move to downtown Los Angeles. I'm like, what? You guys are retired. You're like, why don't you go live in the country? No, downtown Los Angeles is not for old people. It's like scary, dangerous. No. She said, well, I'm going to send you pictures of this beautiful apartment. It's called the Mosaic. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, it's called the Mosaic. It's so beautiful. And I'm like, okay, you have my full support. She's like, what? Why? I'm like, nothing. But yeah, go ahead. It'll work out. And it did. And they lived there for a few years. And it was like a great experience for them. But,
and the table that my computer is on right now
is Mosaic. Show me.
How do I do that? I think, should I?
Yeah, there you go.
Like that. Could you see it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think Brian is speaking. I don't know that with this little story went the way that we thought it would, but it kind of came back because you just came back from a funeral today.
Yeah. And he was one of those guys, like what you're talking about, an angel.
Everybody's buddy.
Everybody love. Mm-hmm.
So on that note, no more playing Russian roulette with the gas tank. And hopefully, yeah. And
well, the good news is it's been about 6 years, because I had a friend who was like, please don't. And I said, okay, for you, I won't. So I've sputtered into the gas station a bunch of times, but not run out.
No more. Do you know, ever since the Brian thing happened, I'm obsessed with always having a full tank of gas. Even if it's just less.
Well, it's supposed to be better, because I mean, not just for your vehicle, but like prosperity wise.
Exactly.
To come from a place of
full tank. Exactly.
It's easy. You can just keep it just barely full and keep playing with that spot, as well as you can keep playing with the barely empty.
Bam. Wiggity whack. Okay. So I think this is a good little tie up here.
Yeah, let's stop. Okay, Kel, I'll close.
Thank you for sharing your dream, Nancy. There's dreams always leads us right to the X marks the spot, like right to the place. It always leads to another conversation that's like, yeah, well then there's this. And did you know that, always.
There's a whole highway of places that it takes us to. Ooh, no pun intended.
Oh, no pun intended. And Priya wants to say hello. Priya said, Nancy, always keep your tank full. Look into my eyes and promise me. Full tank of gas.
Okay,
Everybody who's watching and listening, do it for Priya.
Oh, okay. Wow, that was a lot of pressure. And on that guilt note, I'm going to wrap this show up. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And go ahead, you can berate me in the comments below and tell me that I should keep a full tank. I know, and I promise I'm going to do that.
Good girl.
I promise. Yes. So we are spiritual girls in a material world, and we'll see you next time.
Wiggity, 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 what?